Okay? Then if I give you something like this, the square root of 20, you know to break that down to two numbers where one of them multiplies to be 20, and that's a perfect square. What two numbers are they? 4 and 5. Which one is the perfect square? 4. So what's the square root of 4? That comes out 2. So I have 2 times the square root of 5. This is simplifying radicals. Okay, we've all done this. Now I'm going to math it up a little bit today. And it's not necessarily going to be the square root. It can be the cubed root or the fourth root. And I'm going to put variables in with it. This is something you've seen in Algebra 1, but it's not something that most people master in Algebra 1. So I'll teach it like it's the first time you're seeing it today. So let's start with an easy one. Let's go away from square roots. We're going to start with cubed roots. Cubed root of 8. What is it? 2. Okay? A lot of times we have to retrain our brain when we see cubed roots because our brain automatically goes to square roots because we've always done square roots. What happens when I have the cubed root of negative 8?
Do we have to do an I?
Nope, that's if it's a square root. Cube roots, you can just do the negative 2. So this answer would be negative 2. And the reason for that is if I have negative 2 3 times, negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4. Times the negative 2 would be a negative 8. So when you have an odd power, it doesn't have to be a positive number. If I told you the square root of negative 25, that's where the imaginary numbers come in play. We're not dealing with that today. Okay, let's do this one. Cubed root of 64.
8.
No. 4. This is where you have to retrain your brain. So if I said the cubed root of negative 64, what would you tell me the answer is? Negative 4. Okay? So this is the first part of today's lesson, just retraining our brain to simplify with cubed roots instead of square roots. That's example 2. I need to look at your homework to make sure. But let's do a square root, but now let me throw a variable at you. Square root of 16x to the 8th. Okay? You're going to break this up. Anytime you've got a number and variables, you're going to break it up and think of as two different things. So the very first thing we all know very easily. What's the square root of 16? 4. So I know it's 4. Now, the square root of x to the 8th. There's a couple ways you could think of this. Here's how I'm going to have you start thinking about it. And if you can figure out another way, you can do it that way, if it works. Which we'll talk about in a couple chapters, or couple sections. You want to look at what the root is. This is the square root. So there's a 2 here, but we don't write it. So I'm going to break up whatever my variable is to that power. How many x squareds am I going to have to make x to the 8?
3.
No.
4.
4. Good. Okay. X squared, x squared, x squared, x squared. All of that, if you put those all together, you go back to x to the 8th. So what you ask yourself is, how many x squareds do I have? We have 4 of them. That comes out of the house. This 4 represents those 4 x squareds. So this is the answer.
So you cut it in half.
Well, if you're square rooting. It depends on what the root is. So you can't always think that.
So you can just divide the 2.
You can divide. Now let's do one. Let's do one. Let me math it up just a little bit. Because what if it doesn't go in evenly? I don't need to put the squared there. Let's say I have 25x to the, no, 7. Okay? So now we're going to have some that don't come out of the house. Because you can only take out the squares because we're talking square root. So let's start with the 25. Square root of 25 is, okay, easy. Then I have an x squared. There's 2. There's 4. There's 6, I almost wrote a 6, x squared. And then what do I have left over? An x. So how many x squareds do I have? 3. I have 3 x squareds. These can come out of the house. That's what this 3 represents, is how many x squareds I have. But I have something left in the house. What is it? An x. This x right here is not squared, so I can't take it out. Okay, let's try another one. I'm starting out slow. Let me see if you have to do the numbers yet. Okay, let's try this. 12, I'll stay with squareds for now. 12 times x to the 5th, y to the 9th. Okay, so now I'm adding to it, and then we're gonna jump up to cubes and fourths in just a minute. So, first thing we have to do is 12 is not a perfect square. We have to simplify that. So what can I break 12 down to?
3, 2.
4 and 3.
4, 3.
Okay, so which one's the perfect square? 4. So that comes out of the house, so I have 2. I should have left a little room there. So now I need to look at my x's. I have x to the 5th. I need to break it down to x to the what power?
X squared.
X squared. So x to the 5th should break down to x squared, and what? And just an x. That makes 5. How many x squareds do I have?
2.
2. So I can bring out 2 x's out front. And what stays in the house?
Oh, you can't take y out?
We're not there yet. We're doing each piece. Okay, we've got our 3 still here, and we have this x right here still here. Okay, so now we deal with y's. You guys on your own paper do y. Y to the 9th. Well, I fix this because it's too close. Okay, Austin, put your phone away, please. Okay, so y to the 9th. We have to break it down to y to the what power? Y to the 2nd. So I have y to the 2nd, y to the 2nd. That's 4 of them. That's 6. That's 8. And what do I need to make 9? Just y. So how many y to the 2nds? How many y to the 2nds am I taking out? 4. So I have y to the 4th out front. And what stays in the house?
Y.
Y. So your answer is 2x squared y to the 4th times the square root of 3xy. Okay? Let's now change that from squared to something else. And I'll just leave it letters, not numbers. So let's say I've got the cubed root of a to the 6, or that's a 7, a to the 7, b to the 10. Now what am I breaking our letters down to? Cubes, because I have the cubed root. So I need to break down a to the 7th in terms of cubes. So I have a cubed, I have a cubed, and I have what? A. So how many a's can we take out? 2. So out front I have a squared. You guys do the b.
When we put it in the house, do we still put the cube above it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then it's a squared still? Because there's 2 of them?
Yeah. You need to be writing something down, like pay attention to me.
I'm paying.
You were looking over there. I can tell people that are not going to get this lesson. This is a one-day lesson, then we move on. So I hope that you're paying attention. Okay, b to the 10th. What can I break b to the 10th down to? What did you do on your paper? Those of you who wrote it down. b cubed, b cubed. Okay, so how many b cubes do I have?
3.
Okay, this is what's coming out of the house. B cubed. And what am I leaving in? Just a b. Okay, let's do one more. This time I'm going to raise it to the 4th power. Okay, so I've got the 4th root of a to the 10th, b to the 9th, and we'll do c to the 15th. Okay, you guys do this on your own paper. Start to finish. Okay, what are we breaking these down to?
A squared.
To the
B squared,
fourth.
C squared,
Fourth power.
or B.
So I've got to go a to the fourth, a to the fourth, and then a to the what? A to the second. So how many a to the fourths do I have? 2. So a squared comes out. I have the fourth root still, and what stays in? A squared. Okay? Now we're going to do the same thing with b. We're going to do b to the fourth, and then just b. So I have b to the fourth, and just b. So how many b to the fourths am I taking out? Okay, 2 of them. So I take 2 out, and we have b left in the house. Then I have c. We have c to the fourth, that's 8 of them. C to the fourth is 12, and then c to the third. So I have 3 c to the fourths, that's coming out, and then I'm leaving c to the third on the inside. So you have a squared, b squared, c to the third, times the fourth root of a squared, b, c to the third. Yay? Yay. Okay, I have a handful of problems. We're going to check this off in class, and we're going over it. So we're on page 365. Actually, just get your book, because I need to check it.
And you're like, oh, it's two squared.
Yeah.
Page 365.
Hey, actually, I have 2 different pages. This is the first page.
What's the second page?
Okay, where's that other section? Okay, and then you're going to go to 427 and just do 2 problems there. 1 and 3. What did I say?
1 and 3.
427. 1 and 3. So get these problems done. It shouldn't take you very long. Make sure you understand what you're doing, and then I'm going to check it off and we'll go over it in class.